Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber. And today we're talking about going back to therapy, trying Vyvanse, and my life plan. Let's get into it. So I'm thinking maybe we should change this episode. All right, hold on. All right, just forget about all that. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber. And today you can see we are having probably a very controversial conversation today. And I'm very excited to talk about it. So let me get rearranged here because I feel like I can't get into this conversation if I'm not sitting upright. Okay. As you can tell by the name of this video, we are going to be talking about a little bit more about fitness, weight loss, all that kind of good stuff. So to give you a little bit of backstory, a little bit of update, what I've been up to lately, I am doing my continuing education. So in order to stay a personal trainer, every 2 years you need to do some continuing education. Usually I feel like you just go back to wherever you got your cert from, take some continuing education courses. It's not much. It's not going to take me long. And then you're on your way for another 2 years. So that being said, I'm due. I've been a personal trainer for 2 years now. Yay me. I'm honestly very surprised that, I don't know. I just when I got this cert, I really didn't know where I was going to be at 2 years. I didn't know if I was going to use it till it was expired. I had no clue what was next for me. And I'm so glad I got it. And I'm grateful to be here. And when I was looking online at my continuing education, there was a course called, I believe it's called Size Inclusive Training. And this is more what I'm interested in is mental health, physical health. How do we make the gym more approachable, more acceptable, more inclusive for everybody? And so I think there's already honestly a ton of resources for more advanced lifters. I don't think that is filling a need. It's not really filling a demand. And it's really not my passion. So I opted to take this size inclusive training course from Ace Fitness. And that was more so just I'm due to do my certs. But at the same time, I was hitting a bit of a career wall. And I was like, where am I going with my life? Do I want to start hosting community events? What's happening next? And I was talking to my sibling who lives in Ohio. They work at a recovery center and they also have many certifications in mental health stuff. And they're because I had somebody ask me, they were would you ever go back to school for psychology? And I was like, I've been asked this question before. And I was like, no, I don't want to go back to college. I don't want to go back to school. Fuck that. Also, I don't think I need to do what I want to do. But people ask me that because I'm very, very interested in mental health. And although I do believe in academia, I do believe in furthering your education, I just don't think it's in the cards for me. And I don't think I'm interested in taking on clients or becoming a counselor or anything like that. So I don't think it's necessary for me. I think I'm more interested in creating a safe space for community members to come together and to find community in each other and whatever. So obviously that's kind of what my podcast is about. And I think lately I've been thinking about where do we bridge the gap, right? How do I connect my podcast, which is mental health, and my personal training career, which is physical health, and how do I kind of find a way in the physical world to make them one? And that's kind of where I landed on community events. And I was like, okay, it could be really cool to start hosting events. Then I kind of got into, I have been doing yoga for 8 months. And I'm also really considering getting my yoga cert and then maybe being able to host yoga, just wellness events, maybe journaling prompts, things like that. And then having just a safe space for people to come and maybe dig into themselves a little bit more, explore themselves a little more, and just work on mental stuff and find community in that. So that's kind of my mission, my idea of where I'm at right now. I don't have a yoga cert right now, so I cannot be teaching yoga. But you can lead gentle stretching or what I could since I'm a personal trainer. Or I could lead like group fitness in, journaling after or something like that. So I was kind of like thinking about what I wanted to do with that. And my sibling, who lives in Ohio and has a bunch of mental health certs and stuff, was like, oh, they were like, there's this certification that I got, and I think that maybe you would enjoy it. And it's called Be Body Positive. And it's basically this training course that kind of takes you through. So I'm doing this one right now. I'm doing the facilitator course, meaning that I can host events and label myself as a Be Body Positive facilitator. And essentially, it's all about like connecting to your body, kind of quieting that critical voice in your head, kind of knowing like what's going on here. The founder of that the program, like 25 years ago, I think is when it was started. She had lost her older sister, or younger, I can't even remember. Her sister, nonetheless, essentially to ED, body dysmorphia, pretty much hating her body. And so now her mission is led by just helping people love their body, appreciate it for what it is. And I haven't like finished the training. I'm like halfway through. So I'm kind of going through the chapters and I'm learning more about like, how can we connect to our bodies when it has nothing to do with what our bodies look like? And one of them talks about like, appreciating your ancestors and appreciating like your heritage and like kind of like the people that came before you, whether you know them or not, even if you're adopted, but like whoever, created you and the people who came before you in your bloodline, like they kind of gave you what you have right now and learning to appreciate that. And something that I really like in terms of like body positivity is like connecting to like what my body does for me, like what it already does for me and what it can do for me. I mean, I'm 24 years old, and for 24 years, it's, like on a base level, it's kept me alive. On so many other levels, it's done so many other things for me, right? So I'm super into food. I love to cook. My body has not only allowed me to cook, but also been able to enjoy those foods and been like the vessel for me to enjoy those activities. I really like coffee. My body is something that, allows me to enjoy in that hobby. And like I said, I found yoga like 8 months ago, and my body has been something that's like been that vessel for me to connect to myself more and, lean in toward like spirituality through yoga. So I think I'm really enjoying this cert. And I applied for a scholarship through it because it was a little pricey. And so I filled out all the questionnaires and they emailed me back like immediately, like the same day. And it said like, we'll get back to you in 30 days. And they emailed me the same day where they're like, hey, we really like your responses. I'm actually from the area. You're saying that you teach in, blah, blah. So all that to say, that was super kind of them. So they offered me the scholarship. I immediately went on, like got the training and started. And I'm learning so much. So I'm taking those two courses in conjunction with each other, the ACE, size inclusive training, and then continuing education. And then I'm taking the Be Body Positive training facilitator at the same time. And they coincide so much. It's so funny because my sibling was the one who was like, oh, you should do this. And then I was the one who was like, oh, wait, I think I need to do some continuing certs too. So I'm glad I was able to like match them together. But the reason that I titled this video something so controversial was for clickbait. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, not really. But I do think it sparks an interesting conversation. And I actually posted this to my Instagram story because I can guarantee a lot of people that I work with would not jive with this training module at all. And so the thing on the screen and the thing that encouraged me to like make this video and inspired me and all that stuff was it's problematic to support intentional weight loss. And I want to talk about that for a minute because, I want to preface this by saying, like, this is the largest body that I've been in. So I want to emphasize the fact that I'm not coming from a place of experience. I don't understand what it's like. And I am aware that I've had pretty privilege and skinny privilege, and I have not firsthand experienced these things. So, like, let's set that aside. So we know that. We have that established. However, I do have in my family some pretty larger bodies. My dad isn't a larger body. One of my siblings is as well. And it's definitely impacted like the way they live life, the way they navigate life, the way that people treat them, the way that they're accepted into certain spaces. The ACE one is actually one I'm enjoying a lot. It also addresses people in larger bodies who teach group fitness, who are personal trainers, and their lived experience in the gym and how they're treated as less less experienced or maybe less knowledgeable. There's a lot of assumptions that we make as personal trainers when somebody in a larger body comes to us looking for training. We assume they're looking for weight loss. And it's just, this is such an interesting, I'm so glad I came across this because I think it puts a lot of things into a training module that I kind of already was thinking about myself. And I work primarily with women. So I work with a lot of clients who have struggled with EDs, a lot of clients who have struggled with body dysmorphia, poor relationship to body, poor relationship to the gym or food. And, I've had my fair share of clients who are trying, any kind of diet fads, weight loss pills, etc. And it's pretty intense. This stuff is very heavy. And when we talk about health, we can't just act like it's physical. It's not. It's mental and it's emotional. And I think we really normalize in the society fixating on weight loss. I've had a 20-year-old client come to me who's in a smaller body than I can see very physically active. She's a runner. She's done many marathons, telling me that she has a weight loss goal. I'm not here to ever tell my clients their goals are wrong. I'm not here to shame them. I'm not here to even really provide advice on anything medical. I'm a personal trainer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. So they tell me that their goals, and then that's what we're working towards, and that's it. And I might try to spark some thought-provoking questions, such as, what's the inspiration for the weight loss? What's that going to feel like once you achieve that goal? And they teach you in sales even more so to dig into their goals, really, one, to make the sale, but two, to also to genuinely get to understand where they're coming from and why, because that's also going to help you train them. It's going to help you encourage them throughout their journey. And then, once they have achieved it, you'll be able to celebrate in that and know the why underneath. Because a lot of us are I want to lose weight. How much weight? Why? Is there a reason behind the weight? And the why isn't a why you don't need to. It's just genuinely a way of understanding, right? So let's say they're saying I have a lot of joint problems when I'm, trying to, if I'm on the floor, I want to be able to get up off the floor very easily and my joints are achy. Okay. All right. I want to hike a mountain. Okay. I want to go kayaking. I exceed the weight limit to get on the kayak. These are all now as a trainer, I understand what we're talking about. I understand what we're working toward. Okay. I think a lot of times we have weight loss goal and it's okay, well, why? What's going on there? And they don't have a reason for that. Okay. Well, that's probably society telling them they're supposed to be smaller, when I've had plenty of clients who are not obese, they're not overweight, coming in with the weight loss goal. And you have to ask, what is the 5 pounds going to do? Right? Are you going to wake up and all of a sudden, life is good and the sun is shining? You know what I mean? But, obviously if we have, an excess of weight and we genuinely just want to make our lives a little easier or achieve some goals, that's a little bit different. So I think this training module has really sparked a lot of questions in my head and thoughts and okay, how am I feeling about this? And it's a very controversial training module. To be honest with you, I think if a lot of you, if you're listening to this video and you're what the fuck is this bitch talking about? I think you'd probably be triggered, watching this training module. But stick with me with an open mind, because I think we've really attributed weight loss to health. And we've really attributed, and in that, we've swung too far to that side and it's become skinny equals healthy. And it's just not always the case. And so I learned about what a set point weight was, honestly, via TikTok. And then now I'm learning about it in this training module, which is kind of funny. But I've noted, and mind you, the way that I learn about training and fitness is also very, very, very much through my own body, right? It's through my own experience. It's through my own fitness journey is how I'm really able to connect the dots from what's in this textbook, what's in this training module, and what's going on in the real world. And so we talk about a set point weight. Your body naturally wants to be at a certain weight to feel good, to operate properly, to keep you living, breathing, going, and achieving the things you want to achieve. Everyone has a set point weight, and that is not something that you can change, right? And so I was talking to my partner about this. If you listen to the last episode, yeah, we're figuring it out. Anyways, he's 5'9". He's I don't fucking know how much he weighs, probably 190 or some shit. He's a man. He's a stocky guy. He's a muscular guy. If he came to me and was like, oh, I have a weight loss goal, I want to be 125 pounds. Like, it's not safe. It's not smart. It's not healthy. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us have this like number in our head. Like, once I'm this size, I've had clients who come to me and say they want to be like 100 pounds. And I'm like, I don't know many people in their adult life who could be 100 pounds at a healthy weight. Some, granted, because some of us have a really tiny frame, right? We all know somebody who is just super small and like, that's just, that's literally what their body wants to be at. But for a good handful, a good majority of us, like 100 pounds is not safe. It's not healthy. And can you get your body down to that weight? Sure. Probably. Yeah. Can you get it down to that weight without traumatizing yourself? Without sacrificing a lot of mental health? Probably not. Probably not. It's going to cost you. And so I really like this training module because it's got me thinking about fitness, movement, health, wellness, just in so many different ways. Like I said, it's not something that I've experienced personally, but it is heartbreaking to see this training module is so good because the girl who's giving it is in a larger body, and she is a personal trainer, obviously. And so she's giving this training module, and she has many other people in larger bodies coming in to demonstrate certain exercises. And this is a really helpful chapter, which would help anybody in the fitness industry who's a teacher, group fitness instructor, or whatever, is about how certain movements could be difficult for people in larger bodies at no fault of their own. And I think it's so important to recognize, like, we know on the surface, right? All bodies are different. All people are different. Genetics are different. Sure, we know that. But are we applying that? And the answer is no. When we make, you're a personal trainer. Everything is supposed to be personalized and customized to the person. That's why it's so expensive. That's why people spend $120 an hour with me. It's expensive. But this is the kind of service that you're getting is certain exercises don't work for certain people. And it's not just about injuries. It's not just about age. It could also be about literally the shape of their body, the way that they carry weight, the way that, so it addresses certain things like that might come up. And one of them is like breast tissue. If people have very large, they have a lot of breast tissue can weigh up to 5 to 20 pounds. Like, that's fucking crazy. Again, I'm just like genetically, I'm just blessed in that aspect that I don't have, because that's so hard. I remember being in volleyball when I was younger in high school. I remember other girls needing to wear 2 sports bras to like be able to play volleyball and not be uncomfortable. Like, fuck, that is difficult. And that's, again, no fault of their own. That's simply the genetics that they were given. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's like an obstacle they have to move around that I don't have to. And so the same thing comes into play when we talk about, she was talking about doing chest press and lying on your back, and how like if you have a lot of breast tissue, it can be uncomfortable. How if you're in a push-up position, somebody in a larger body, that's a lot of stress on the wrist joints. And so thinking about like weight in larger bodies, less in terms of like weight loss, but more so focused on like, okay, this position might be a little painful to the wrists. And something that she mentions a lot of time in the training module is, are we losing the integrity of the exercise? And I think that is so important. It's something that I think about all the time with my clients. And to be honest with you, I see other trainers really not paying attention to is like, what's the base purpose of the exercise, right? Like if we're doing a squat, we're focused on trying to work the glutes, the quads, whatever. If we're doing a lunge, like trying to engage specific muscle groups. And let's just say for whatever reason, right? Like balance is off. They carry their weight differently. Maybe they're not strong enough to be doing that with the dumbbell yet. I see trainers just kind of like sitting idly by and like letting them continue the set with poor form. And so I'm not really sure why this happens. I think maybe sometimes it's in the name of like just getting the exercise done and saying that we did it. But to be honest with you, I will sit at basics and foundations like all day. I'll sit there for a month with a client if I have to. And I've had clients who are 55 and up who have never lifted a day in their life. And you bet your damn mind we're never getting under a dumbbell, and we're going to be moving very slowly. And a lot of I hate to even call them regressions, but we're just going to be building up the foundations first and moving forward accordingly. And that's why it's called personal training, is because it's not a one size fits all. It's not a, this is the exercise, if you can't do it, you're bad or stupid or whatever. No, it's literally finding, like, my job is to find the fitness that's going to work for you. Find the exercises that's going to work for you. Exercises that you can do and you can get the proper engagement within the proper muscle groups while also pushing yourself and trying to, get in the exercise, right? Because, I have some advanced lifters. I certainly don't want to keep them at body weight squats if they're, you know what I mean? Like if that just feels like a warm up for them. I want to progress them safely. But just as well, if I have a client who's struggling with a dumbbell to hit the squat and struggling with form and their back is hurting, maybe we need to take the weight away. And we just need to take out a variable so we can focus a little more on something else and then move up. And that's kind of a lot of what this training module was talking about, was how certain just postures or forms might be inaccessible to certain people in larger bodies, but arguably I would argue like anybody. She started to talk about a half pigeon stretch. And so she goes over exercises and then she also goes over stretches, which was really helpful. Because I think that's one we really don't ever think about. I mean, stretching is like neglected as a whole in the fitness industry. It's like not the primary thing. And I tell all my clients to stretch, but do they or not? Who knows? Just kidding. I always ask. I always reward honesty too. I always say thank you for being honest when they say they didn't. But I think that's something that we don't always think about, is people in larger bodies, is like how to make something like stretching accessible. And this is where I started to see the yoga come into the training module that I was doing. Was we were talking about props, and she was talking about how blocks can be very helpful to make a stretch more accessible. And right, she's talking about people in larger bodies, but this is accessible to everybody. I mean, we are all super tight. A lot of us are not that flexible. Some naturally are, but myself included, I'm not. I use blocks almost every yoga class. And so I think that's something that I've been learning from yoga, and then also learning in this training module, was how important it can be to modify the exercise to work for the person, not the other way around, and be able to tell when the person needs a modification versus maybe they need some more cues, right? Like maybe this is within their wheelhouse. They just need some more cues, or maybe it's really not working and we need to figure something else out, and that's where props come into play: blocks, straps, maybe even a chair, a pole, a column. Sometimes I'll use like whatever, a yoga ball. So it was really a good. I mean, I'm not finished with the training. I'm like halfway through, but I think it's been really good to think about, like, not everyone has a weight loss goal. We make that assumption about everybody, and I think some people think that they do, and they really don't. Which, I mean, it's not my job to tell anybody what their goals are. But I think a lot of us think like, oh, I need to lose weight. And it's like we haven't really gotten past that thought of like, oh, why and how much and what for and like what will this give us? You know what I mean? Whereas I had that 20-year-old client who we trained for a month, and then she took a break, and she had said, she was like, honestly, she was like, came in here with a weight loss goal. And she was like, I didn't like even really lose weight with you, but she was like, I gained like 2 pounds of muscle. And she was like, I feel so much stronger. She was like, honestly, I feel stronger in my body. I feel more confident. I like the way that I look more. And she was like, I'm just feeling like more connected to myself. And I was like, I'm so happy this is all that I wanted for you. Like, and again, she came in with a weight loss goal, and I'm never going to say that's a wrong goal. No, and we'll lightly talk about nutrition. But again, I'm not a certified nutritionist. I can't be giving out meal plans, but we'll kind of chat about like protein and, some foods and whatever, what a calorie deficit is. But I was super proud of her, because I think that's somebody that, like, long after she knows my name, will hopefully have some tools in her toolbox from me to have a positive relationship with the gym, to be kind to herself when she's in the gym, to push herself when she's ready and reel it back in when it's time to take a rest, and know the difference and know when it's time to do each. And just kind of fostering that relationship of mind to body, and knowing like, okay, maybe like I'm excited today. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really energetic. I think I'm going to try to squat a little bit heavier. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I think today's not the day. I'm not really feeling it. I'm just going to get a workout in. Like, not every workout has to be the best. And I went to an event last weekend. She's another one of the trainers at the gym I work for, who is very, I'm gonna call her woo woo because she would say that about herself. She is very woo woo in the best way. And she was doing a sound bath at the park along with a little talk on the menstrual cycle and how that comes into play in fitness, and how, depending on which phase of the menstrual cycle that you're in can definitely affect how you should be pushing weights, how the weights are going to feel. And it's so true. I've probably said this on here before. I mainly train girls. And almost all the time, there'll be 1 week out of the month where they'll be like, oh my God, like, is this really the weight that I did last week? This feels so heavy. And I'll say, oh, like, are you on your period? And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, like, that's crazy. And other times they'll be like, no. And they'll come back the next day and they'll be like, oh my God, I got my period. And I'm like, sometimes that's just the way it is. So I think like trying to cater your fitness journey, your movement, your exercises to you and your body and what's going to work for you, and not the other way around. Like, don't be catering your body and like your fitness journey to fit whatever society is telling you need to do. I think that's going to be a much easier path to long-term sustainable health and wellness. And that's kind of what the training module was getting at, was fixating on intentional weight loss can be counterproductive at times because, one, your body has a set point weight of what it wants to be at. And two, it's probably much more beneficial mentally, emotionally, and physically to just focus on getting moving, And I like that notion. I like the notion of let's get moving, let's get active, and let's go from there, right? And we think about these things, right? Quality of life. And what does that mean for everybody? It's different, I'm sure. But for me, it would be like, how are my energy levels throughout the day? How is my mood? Am I tired? Am I exhausted? Am I hungry? Am I satiated? Am I cranky? You know what I mean? And so somebody like, and even like, joints, back stuff, pain, like, am I in pain or do I feel good? All these things play into quality of life. And so I think like, regardless of what size your body is, I literally like don't care. If you feel good, you feel energetic, you feel nourished, you feel satiated, you are no achy back, no achy knees, no achy joints, no achy shoulders, then you're probably healthy. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, and I do think health could probably be better measured by going to the doctor and getting a blood panel, right? And seeing what's going on in the cholesterol. And that will probably tell us more accurate information about health and wellness than the number on the scale. But you yourself are your own best doctor to know, like, do I feel okay? And if you're feeling drowsy, shitty, headaches, like, then yeah, we have to take a look at health and wellness. And maybe weight loss is the answer. Maybe strength training is the answer. Maybe better sleep is the answer. Maybe we need to drink more water. Have we had a vegetable? Maybe we're not getting enough fiber. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many pieces to this puzzle. And realistically, I think, like, regardless of your body size, if you are feeling really shitty and you start a wellness journey and you start to invest in your health and you start to make decisions based on how you feel, your body will probably naturally get to its set point weight without you having to fixate on these things. Because realistically, a calorie deficit is not sustainable for the rest of your life. Tracking calories is not sustainable for the rest of your life. For most people, having abs is not going to be sustainable for the rest of your life. So I think doing the activities that you like, and I'm talking about like general health and wellness, right? Like, if you have a fitness goal, you want to get down to this body fat percentage, you want to be a bodybuilder, you want to run like a certain time on your like 400 meter dash, that's a different conversation. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the average person who works a job and just wants to take care of themselves, right? So maintaining general health and wellness, I think that's important to distinguish between the two. Then I think probably the healthiest, right? I kind of hate the word healthy at this point because we've kind of skewed the definition, but for lack of a better term, the healthiest option is probably going to be focusing on how you feel and focusing on water intake, on, nutrient dense foods, on workouts that you enjoy, that you like, that give you life, right? Finding what activities do you like, you know, if you like strength training, or maybe you like Pilates, or maybe you like boxing, because there's movement for everybody, right? Like there's not a person out there who just doesn't like exercise. It's probably somebody who's been traumatized by the fitness industry, if I'm being honest with you. But there's some form of movement for everyone. I fully believe that. It might not be strength training, it might not be lifting, but maybe it's fucking rowing, kayaking, fucking hiking. Maybe it's what's that, like they walk the tightrope situation? I don't even know what that's, tightroping, I guess. I don't know. I've never done it. But anyways, there's so many options out there. The options are unlimited. So I think in terms of your health and wellness journey, my advice as a fitness professional would be to find what you love. The best exercise is the one that you'll do. That was one of the best advices I've ever heard. And it's really the only thing you're going to stick to, because I'm 24 and hopefully I've got a good I don't know, good chunk of years left, a good amount of time left. And anything that isn't long-term sustainable is probably not going to give me long-term sustainable results either. So, and I would rather feel good, right? And so there was another thing that they said during one of the training modules, I think it was the Be Body Positive one, that says to eat intuitively, to live intuitively, and to move intuitively. And I think that's my goal. That's my health and wellness goal. That's my training mantra. That's what I do with my clients, is how can I get you better connected to you, because you know what's best for you. I'm just here to guide. I'm here to make it happen. So that's what I've got for you today. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, controversial takes, whatever, please leave them below. Let's keep it kind. If anyone has anything to say, I think this is a really interesting topic, and I think it's going to make fitness more approachable and more inclusive, which is a good thing. And if you don't think that's a good thing, you should eat a dick. So, that's what I've got for you today. If you are struggling with your fitness journey, if you're in a larger body, you're feeling a little ostracized, please reach out to me. My DMs are open. I firmly believe the fitness space is literally for everyone. So if you're needing a little pep talk, or if you're just a little nervous, or if you just want to be like, hey, I'm interested in joining a gym, like whatever, reach out. I'm here. I'm right there with you. And I will see you on the next one, because this shit is hard.